So I'm going to share my screen. Hi, everybody. I'm Russ. Let me think of what I should start with. About me. So I'm a father. I'm an educator. I'm an entrepreneur or a business creator, operator. I got a math degree and I teach math, but I also mostly did theater in college instead of studying for my math test. So I'm also a performer and director and writer. So I'm just generally a very curious person that loves talking with kids and curious people and just kind of keeping the learning going. And so that's what today is about. So while I get my screen sharing going, do you mind everybody kind of saying who they are and what they're most curious about in life? I'll start with anybody. Anyone? I could call on Shane. Is everybody hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
Well, rather than wait then for everybody to go, I'm going to jump in. And at any point, if you want to stop me, question me, tell me I'm saying something crazy or you don't understand it, this is meant to be interactive. And I'm going to ask you lots of questions. Many of these questions don't have answers. Maybe they have answers. Maybe you have an answer. But humanity has been thinking and being curious for a very long time, and there are a great many things we don't know. On the other thing you might have noticed in the camera, I set up another computer and added another Zoom participant, myself, but actually it's one of these artificial intelligences that I work on. So I have these little companion artificial intelligences that just keep me company and help me do stuff. So it's paying attention. You probably see it wiggle and breathe and react. So it's one of these things that I work on, but sometimes I like to add it to meetings like this because it helps me make sure that I'm paying attention because it's paying attention to me. So it's just gonna kind of participate in this with us. So limits to what we can know. I proposed this as a potential topic because I knew I only had a little bit of time, and so I like to maximize the amount of stuff I can kind of throw out there and get people thinking, so that when our time is done together, you can go away and think for many, many days about this stuff. But the other thing is, I want to inspire people to be as curious as possible about the world. And I want to make sure, especially kids, know that while we know many things, there's an infinite amount of stuff that we could know. And so I like to think through what the limits of what we know now are and what there might be limits to what we could know in the future. And of course, in there being limits, there's probably also an unlimited amount of stuff that we could know. So let's start. I like to learn by doing rather than talking. So first thing, a little game. And if you're able to get up, great. If you want to do this in your mind, that's fine too. It's a very simple thing. And maybe you've done this before, maybe you haven't. First, let me check before I go on. Is everybody seeing my screen? They're seeing the slides?
Yes.
I see, yes, it's awesome. So look at a wall. Look at some wall in the room that you're in, wherever you're at. Some wall, some way away from you. If you want to get up, you can. If you don't, you just want to use your eyes and your brain, that's fine too. So now I want you to walk halfway, get halfway to that wall. Just go ahead and do it. Go halfway, whatever you think is the halfway.
I can't really because I'm on my front porch.
Oh, that's fine. Then you can look at somewhere from your porch and just pick a spot and go halfway there just in your mind. Then walk halfway from where you're at that halfway point, halfway between that point and where you're trying to get. and then do another half. But you got to be very careful. You don't cheat. You don't get to go like 60% or 70%. Only go halfway. Go halfway again. So I assume your steps or the steps in your mind are getting smaller and smaller as you have them. So question for the group. If you just proceed by going only a half at a time, is anybody ever going to get to where they were trying to go?
In theory, yes.
Why do you say in theory yes?
Because logically, if you keep going half, you won't. If you take 1 and you keep splitting that number in half, you won't get to 0. But if you do it in infinite, if you walk in infinite halves to the wall, you will sort of get to the wall.
Well, you're saying will sort of if you took infinite. Can you take infinite steps?
No,
So ever going to get to the wall?
not really,
But sometimes do you get to your wall?
yes.
So how does that happen?
Because
What if it's white? What if it's literally right beside you?
But there is still a halfway point between things that are right beside you.
Like it's literally right beside me. I can feel it without even I can basically feel it without even touching it.
Okay, but how do you if you have to go through an infinite number of halves to touch it, can you ever touch it, or are you just stuck feeling and knowing that it's there?
I can touch it without even taking a step from where I am.
Anybody else? Does anybody think you definitely can get there and you don't need infinite number of halves to get there?
no.
So does anybody know, has anybody ever heard of the person who first thought this up?
No.
No.
Take a guess as to how long ago this problem, this riddle was first crafted. Any guesses for how many years ago? Couple thousand years ago. This old dude called Zeno. You ever heard of Zeno? Zeno was before, he came before Plato. You heard of Plato?
Yes.
Yeah, so before Plato got famous for writing all this stuff down, this dude Zeno came up with all these complex, they're kind of simple to state, but they're kind of complex to think through. So Zeno formed between 5 and 9 what we call paradoxes. And this one is what we call the dichotomy paradox, or the paradox of motion. We call it the paradox of motion because you guys kind of already discovered what Zeno discovered. If you need infinite halves to get anywhere, like how do we get anywhere at all? And I'm going to leave it because this is what I like to do. Now that you know the term, or the guy Zeno, and you know the term paradox and paradox of motion, I'm going to leave it for you guys to go look this up. And I think you'll have a lot of fun because there are still modern arguments about whether we have actually answered paradox. And there's lots of simple ways to talk about it and lots of complex ways. But it's really cool to me to think a couple thousand years ago, somebody thought these ideas up and then went around town, asking people about it. And we still get to do it again, even with all our modern technology and modern knowledge. So now that we know that if you have an infinite number of halves, you can go all the way there, let's go to the next place. So how many people here play Minecraft?
Me.
Me.
Anybody
Pretty
else?
much everyone.
Me.
Yeah. So my kids play Minecraft. Our school plays a lot of Minecraft. I try to play Minecraft. I'm probably not as fast as you guys. let's have a little slightly different. It's related to Zeno's paradox, but let's think about it. Since you guys are so familiar with Minecraft, how fast can information travel in Minecraft? How fast can you send a message? How fast can you get somewhere in Minecraft?
Fast.
Like infinite because you can teleport.
Yeah, all right. So when you teleport, does anything change in between when you started to teleport and where you ended up?
You're at a completely new spot.
Yeah, but did it happen instantaneously, or did other things change while you were teleporting?
Everything changed.
So with that, if everything changes, do you think would you need some amount of time for everything to change? Like how would everything have changed if no time had passed while you were teleporting?
Because it's a video game. And you could.
So yeah, it's a interesting thought. So it being a video game, what is your video game running on?
Java.
Okay, and then Java is running on top of what?
Your computer?
Yeah, and is your computer infinitely fast?
No.
Yeah, have you asked your parents to buy you a faster computer?
No.
Not yet. You're happy with the speed it's at?
Yeah.
But it's not infinitely fast. Would you, if I could give you an infinitely fast computer, would you want it?
Yes.
Right. So is Minecraft limited by the speed of your computer? How about, who knows what FPS stands for?
Me. Frames
what
per
is it?
second or
And what's a-
first person shooter?
Okay, so let's go with the frames per second. What is a frame?
An image. Still image.
Yeah, and so when we say 30 frames per second, what do we mean?
It means they show 30 still images in 1 second. Different ones.
So information coming out of Minecraft comes through frames, right?
Yes.
So what's the fastest that frames per second your computer puts out right now, do you think?
For me, it's 120.
Yeah, so that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And does anybody know how fast your eye and your brain registers visual information in terms of frames per second?
No.
Anybody else? No? At about between 25 and 30 frames a second. This is why all our movies are shot 25 to 30 frames a second. It's why most video games, the default setting is 30 frames, because our brain can't take in visual information any faster than 30 frames per second. So is that a limit on how fast information can travel in Minecraft?
I guess to your brain.
And so take that idea to your brain. Does information only exist if there's a brain to perceive it?
Yes.
Anybody else agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
So if, let's test that theory. If you turn off the light and walk out of the room, and then you go out and take a walk for a while, and your mom or dad comes in and turns the light on, but you weren't there to perceive it, did the light turn on?
Yes.
But your brain wasn't there to perceive it. So how could that be based on what you guys just said? Another way to think about it, go back to Minecraft. If you started to teleport
Yes.
and you walked away from your computer,
Yeah.
would you still have teleported?
Yes.
So you didn't need your brain to actually move information in Minecraft. But let's see, because I don't know. You guys are presenting an interesting quandary when we think of Minecraft, because when you teleport in Minecraft on top of your Java, on top of your computer, what actually teleported? Did something actually move inside the computer?
Well, yes.
What moves?
The electricity
Yeah.
and data.
Yeah, so go with the electricity. Where does the electricity, where is it moving?
Inside of your computer and your wall.
Yeah. This is good. It's pretty hard. Have you guys ever thought about this stuff before when you play Minecraft?
No.
Are you going to think about it now every time you play Minecraft?
Probably.
Yeah. I'll make sure, so we'll make sure you guys get a copy of these slides, because there's this really cool video that I found that talks about light speed and Minecraft. I found a bunch of really interesting videos where physicists have set up all sorts of strange high-end physics experiments using Minecraft, seeing how fast you can actually travel and seeing what the furthest outer reaches of space and time are in Minecraft. I highly encourage these videos, and then obviously encourage you to experiment with them to further test our theories that we've come up with. I don't know if there's an upper limit to how fast information can travel in Minecraft, and I don't know if you need a brain or you do need a brain. I don't know. I think it's worth you guys investigating. So let's get out of Minecraft. And maybe let's go to some other, maybe this is simple, or maybe it's not so simple. So how old are you really? Does everybody know their birthday?
Yes.
Okay, and everybody knows where they were born?
Yes.
Okay, so if you told your birth date in the minute you were born to somebody else on Earth, would they know when you were born? If you didn't give them the location?
No.
Why not?
Because there's different times change where you are.
Does anybody else agree or disagree with that?
Actually, no, that's not true.
Yeah, what do you think? Now, what happened in your brain that made you?
Because the time that isn't that like how fast this universe is moving. It's when the sun is over you or not. I mean, time is always the same on this earth where you are, but where the sun isn't. So I guess they would know exactly when you were born.
So let's think about this. If you moved right now to, let's say, Japan or Australia, which day would you say was your birthday?
The same day?
Well, are Japan and Australia a day ahead, a day behind from where you're at? Yeah, this is hard, isn't it? Because in some
Yeah.
countries, you were probably born in the future from where you think you are. And in other
Yeah.
countries, if you were born in Australia, everybody in America is in the past.
Yeah.
Or are they?
They're not. They're in
Right.
present time.
Time zones. Does anybody know why we have time zones? That's what you see on my screen right now. It's a map.
Yes.
Why do we have time zones?
Because the sun can't be in two places at once.
Yeah, and so our way of labeling time is relative to these other cycles we're paying attention to. Who's heard the phrase "time flies" when you're having fun?
Me. But it doesn't actually.
Why do you think? Does anybody know why we thought that phrase up? Like where that saying
Because
comes from?
for some people it feels like 15 minutes if they're having fun when it was actually an hour.
Yeah, and so is time something you feel, or is time something that it passes out there in the universe?
Time's something that passes in the universe.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah. For some people I'm asking all these questions of, does this already feel like an hour has passed or no time has passed?
No time.
Oh, that's good. So you feel time differently. That's good. So how can you use this information about the relativity of reporting your birth date to your advantage? Is there a possibility that you could have infinite birthdays?
I guess, but I mean, there's not infinite time zones, so no.
Yeah, that's good. That's good thinking. So an exercise for those so inclined to maximize the number of birthdays they have in their life, you might want to think through how you could travel around the earth such that you have the most number of birthdays in any given year.
I think the most you can have is 3.
Yeah, why do you think that?
Because I don't think there's a country that's 2 days ahead or 2 days behind.
But could you move through time zones such that you're always hitting the changeover of the day to the time zone right behind you? Could you travel fast enough to do that?
Don't know.
Yeah, it's where I'm not sure I know the full math in my head, and then I'd add one more wrinkle because you're probably going to need your parents' help. It probably cost a lot of money, so you might have to think through whether the cost to have maximal birthdays will eat up all the money for the gifts that you might get. So you might have to think through a different strategy. Because if me, I want to have as many birthdays such that I will have cake and presents. So there might be some different limiting factors on maximizing your birthday. So now that we have figured out how to take infinitely many halves and we've thought through time and information travel in Minecraft, and we're wondering how to have maximal birthdays, let's just talk about whether we are ourselves. So on the screen, a little fast factoid. I don't know if everybody knew this. Do you know that most of your body's cells, your biological cells, are replaced every 7 to 10 years? Did everybody know that?
No.
Yeah, pretty cool. I think it's cool. So if you're constantly replacing most of your body's cells every 7 to 10 years, are you still you every 7 to 10 years?
Yes, because you have the same DNA, don't you?
That's good. So so while you're suggesting something that I think is pretty profound, it probably took humans a long time to think through, which is how do you pass along information even when the structure of something is changing.
I
Will,
think
you
you're
guys-
still part you.
Yeah, you still think you're part you?
Yeah, but you're not all you because like you're replaced, but not everything is replaced. Only some of it is replaced.
Yeah. So do you know
Like
what
all
part
your
of it?
cells, but not all your skin, your veins. That's why I think you're part still you.
Yeah. This is good. So DNA seems to be consistent. Some of your cells don't change. So does anybody happen to know the body cells that you have, the parts of the body where the cells don't get replaced every 7 to 10 years? Yeah, I saw somebody point. Oh yeah, somebody knows. So some of your brain cells, and then some of your eyes, the lens in your eye is not replaced. I think this is why we're so cautious with putting glasses on and safety precautions, is it's hard to rejuvenate your eyes. And I think it's sort of interesting when you think about your brain is somewhat not replaceable in your eyes. When we think about the earlier questions we were talking about how we perceive information, it seems like it's probably pretty important to protect for our own identity. It might be important to protect the things that perceive information in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now here's a really hard philosophic question, but you might have asked it of yourself when you play Minecraft or watch sci-fi movies or whatever. Let's say after 40 years of your life and all of these versions of your cells have been replaced. And let's say some evil scientist had been collecting all your cells that were old, and he or she rebuilt a version of you, created a clone of you from your old cells. Would that old cell clone be you? Or is there only one you? Even if I could clone you from all your cells?
Yeah. I think there's only one you. Again, because of your DNA.
But even if in those old cells I had your DNA and I could create a new body that looked like you, like your younger
Well-
self.
Where is your DNA stored?
That's a good question. Does anybody know where your DNA is? Does DNA have to be in your cells?
No.
Or where else can it be?
Your blood.
Yeah, blood has cells in it, right? But we can also, DNA can exist outside your body too. So in a sense, information about you. Who's seen Jurassic Park? Anybody seen that movie, The Jurassic World, or any of it?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the premise of that is that they found dinosaur DNA in fossilized mosquitoes, and they were able to recreate dinosaurs. So, because DNA can exist outside of your cells. So, you think DNA contains everything that you are?
I guess not.
Yeah, and do you think, so based on that, what do you, give me some other ideas about what you might be made of or what makes you you?
Your brain.
Yeah, and what goes in your brain?
Thoughts, your emotions, your knowledge.
Yeah, and your memories of your friends and
Yeah.
your parents and the pictures and paintings in your house. So do you think you could transfer all those other things that aren't your DNA in your cells to a computer and make a version of yourself in a computer?
If someone knows how to convert, like, what brain knows into binary or coding language.
Yeah, so right now, with how we're doing these video conferences to educate each other, is there a conversion like that happening already?
I don't think so.
So do you guys feel like, since you've had to change how you do schooling, do you think you can learn about each other in the same, in as effective as a good a way as you do when you're together?
Not really,
Yeah, what's different about it?
because you're not together.
Yeah, and what is so what seems to be so helpful about being in the same physical space?
Uh, I don't really know.
Yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. I think we're all trying to figure that out. What is different about this, and what is the same? And I kind of related to this question about how are you, because in a way, it's pretty neat that we can have these video conferences through computers and the internet all around the world, and while they may not be the same as being in a physical space, they're also kind of interesting in that we can get anything out of them, that we can recognize on the other end. Do you guys think I'm a person?
Yes.
Yeah, even though you've never seen me in person, you still think of me as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, why do you think
Yeah.
that is? Why do you think you have no problem seeing me as a person?
Because
Wait, are you telling us you're a robot?
Yeah, is it possible that you're a robot and someone is programming you what to say?
I mean, what do you guys think?
no,
And what makes you think that?
because I've never seen any computer or things do that unless some secret group of people are doing it.
But it is possible.
You haven't seen
How?
robots before?
Yeah, but they don't look like that.
I've
and
seen
they
a
don't act
robot
like that.
Yeah, people can put like costumes on them,
Yeah,
or they can put like
robots
face
don't act like
masks and
that.
all of that.
Unless
But
someone
They can
tells
program them.
exactly what to do.
He could be a puppet. He could be a puppet.
It doesn't look like a puppet.
Could it? You said it doesn't. Ha!
how would you tell the
You don't
difference?
think he's a person?
don't?
What can you guys think up some different ideas about how you would test for whether somebody over a video
Metal
conference is a bot?
detector.
But
Metal
let's say
detector.
you couldn't do that because we're all just over a video conference. So what's a way that you could try and determine if I'm a human or not?
Oh, you use those test things. You know those test things to online to say like not a robot, like all the ones with like click all the ones with the street lights, or click all the
Well-
ones with cars or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Robots
Robots
are also
learned how to
programmed
do that.
to do that.
If someone hacked into the reCAPTCHA security to get all those images and then find out what all of those are because of the data.
So in a way, when you're using these kind of coming up with these ways to test for what is human and what is robot, are you trying to test the limits of what a robot could do and know?
Sort of.
And how do we come up with those tests? Why did we think CAPTCHAs and reCAPTCHAs and tagging images is somehow a uniquely human thing, and that robots or other animals couldn't do it?
Because robots identify things by pixels, not by an actual. Robots don't think like we do because we kind of tell robots what to do, but we can't tell them that this is a street light and then all the other street lights, the robot will know that that's a street light.
That's pretty hard. Do you think the robots will ever get good enough to be able to like do the CAPTCHAs and everything?
Artificial intelligence, I guess, sometime.
And can we invent new tests if they solve that? Can we invent new tests for them?
Maybe.
This is good. Good thinking. Let's move on to a different thing. Maybe the robots are better at this than we are. Or maybe we're better than them in this next one. So if you have a piece of paper or some way to do this, it may help you to do it. But this maybe will rest our brains a little bit and try something different. So draw 2 dots on a piece of paper in your mind, whatever. And I'm gonna do it myself. So I put these 2 dots on the screen. I'll just move them around so you see that we did it. Now, what's the shortest distance or line between them?
Like a pixel.
Well, right, if they were closer, I can do that.
No, but they didn't say connecting to each other. They
Yeah,
just
let's connect them. What's the shortest distance connecting?
I don't know how to measure that. But yeah.
A line, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, now, what's the longest way to connect them?
Infinite.
Yeah, why do you say that?
Because
Squiggly line.
you can go and turn into a million circles before you get to the other dot. You could go to infinite circles.
Yeah. Okay, so I did that. I drew a really long one.
You could do way more circles than that.
Oh, totally. We could go on forever. So now, based on that, which of these lines goes in between those 2 dots?
The first one.
What makes it in between?
Because it's in. It's just in
Ooh,
between
it's
the 2
cold.
balls.
I'm on my front porch right now, and it is cold.
So is there, what defines what's in and what's out in terms of 2 dots?
In a certain like if there's an imaginary rectangle or circle and the line has to
Interesting.
be.
So you kind of had to invent in your brain, you invented another idea like that, right?
Yeah, and if the thing's.
And now you can say in and out. But if it is in and
second
out,
line.
so kind of interesting, because the idea of something being in or out, where does that actually exist? Where is that a real thing? Is the idea, or did we just kind of invent?
We sort of invented that.
Yeah. And so let's go back a little bit to Minecraft. Is Minecraft happening inside the computer, inside your brain, or outside your brain and outside the computer?
Inside the computer.
Anybody else agree?
Wait. If you're playing it offline, then yes, it's inside the computer.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing it online, then it has to connect to somewhere, so it will be outside and inside.
Yeah, and that's right. So that's a pretty interesting. When we go back to that question about information traveling in Minecraft, what did we mean by how fast can information travel inside Minecraft?
Inside the video game.
Right. It's like the video game is kind of this invented rectangle where we created this whole new concept of our brains and the servers and the Minecraft world. It's now a bigger concept than anybody's particular computer.
Yeah.
And so when we're trying to figure out what the limits of information travel are, we sort of have to think in terms of all of the limits of all of the possibilities and limits that might exist in any of those different things that went into it. Yeah, so does anybody have an idea of why we say in between and not out between?
Because I think between it, I don't know.
Like I kind of know because when I was thinking this up, I thought the same thing. It's really weird that we added the word in because the word between says it all, right?
Yeah.
Like why did right? It's like very duplicative.
Because out and between are two different things.
Yeah.
In is, I think, part of the criteria of between, but I don't know.
And it's interesting because it's not always, spell check doesn't always see in between. Sometimes you do that. So sometimes it's just out the top.
Yeah.
But when I said in between, I don't think anybody got confused. But when I say out between, it's like my brain goes, I've never even said that before.
Yeah.
And it's like strange because to me, the squiggly line is something that I would consider out between. It definitely is between the two dots, but
Or
it's
if out-
outside.
Or if you think of out as not, it's like not between, it's out between.
Yeah, so maybe we could just change this for future people, not between. I like that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Has anybody ever heard of the Monty Hall problem?
No.
Good.
No.
It was exciting. Well, Monty Hall, the Monty Hall show was an old TV show, an old game show. It's not that important. You can find it online, old clips of it. But what is important is the game here. And so I'm gonna set this game up, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. So suppose you're on a game show. It's called the Monty Hall Show, and you're given a choice of 3 doors. Behind one door is a car, a brand new car. And behind the other 2 doors are goats. So you get to pick a door, and then that door, it's going to stay closed. And then the host, Monty Hall, me, whoever, is going to open another door that you didn't pick and reveal a goat. Okay? So after you pick a door, without opening your door, I'm going to open a different door, and you get a choice. Or you can choose a new door, or we can open your existing door, and you win whatever is behind that door that you ultimately choose to open. So the question for everybody is on this game show is, should you switch doors when I give you the chance, or stick with your original guess? And I'm going to pull up a little web page so that we can play this. But with how I set this up, do you think you should switch doors when I reveal what's behind another door that you didn't pick, or should you keep the same door? What do you think is the best way for you to possibly win? Any guesses? Maybe we play around. Which door of these 3 doors? Can everybody see the doors on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, which door do you want to choose?
Middle.
The middle door? Okay. So now the host has opened up one of the other doors, and it's a go. So should we go ahead and open the original door we chose, or pick a different door to win the car?
The original.
You want to stick with the original?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees? Yeah. So why do we want to stick
Yeah.
with the original? What is the logic you're using to pick the original?
If you pick the second one, you'll lose all the chance of it being behind the door that you originally picked, and you'll be mad at yourself if you didn't get it, if you had changed the doors.
Okay, so I'm gonna click this button. Is everybody happy with it? We're gonna go with the middle one.
Yeah.
Oh, we won the car. So that's pretty good logic. Let's play again. Which door do you want me to pick?
Left.
Everybody agrees? The first one?
Yes.
Okay, now the host has opened the door and we have a goat in the middle door. Should we keep our door or move?
Keep choice.
Move.
No,
Move.
no,
Our
keep
door.
choice.
Since
Keep
we
choice. No, keep
since
choice.
we kept
Keep
it
choice.
last since we
No.
kept it
No.
last time, it's going to trick us and make that one a goat because we kept it
Will.
last time. It thinks we're
Will.
going to keep it again.
Well, it's just a
Will, guess
website.
what? Well, guess what? Actually, if you look at the change choice and keep choice, the red and green buttons below, keep choice, carbs, 100%. So click on it.
Well, I want it because we have dissenting opinions. So, Will, have you been won over by their argument?
Well, it's a randomized website.
Yes.
So you're agreeing to keep it, Will? Can you unmute yourself?
Tap it.
Do you want to keep it?
Yes.
Okay. We got the car. All right, there's 2 wins for keeping it. We've won 2 cars. Let's keep going. We're gonna play again. Okay, which door?
Left.
To the
Oh, sorry,
right.
Right.
Okay, we'll go with the right one. Okay, goat is in position 1. So should we keep our selection or?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh, wait. What
I'm feeling
happened?
it.
You all had this logic. Why are you changing?
I'm feeling a change.
You're feeling a change?
I'm feeling we have to change.
the goat.
You guys want to go to the middle?
Not sure. I don't.
Uh-oh. Wait, but you guys were so sure on your first ones. What's causing that? Has the math of the game changed?
Yeah, sort of.
How has it changed? We're just playing the same game over and over. Why is the math changing?
Cause it's randomized and
Goat is gonna be beside. Something is odd for the goat to be beside the other goat. I don't know why.
I think no, but that happened on the other
So
one.
let's see, because now we're
Keep
starting
the
to.
door.
We're only 3 rounds in. You've won 2 cars. Let's play
Keep the
10. Let's
door.
get to 10.
Keep the door.
You guys want to keep it now?
I don't.
Yeah, keep the door.
Well, we're so let's try and resolve this because we still have dissenting things. What are the odds of winning? What is the odd that your first?
I agree with the majority.
Yeah, I think agreeing with the majority is usually a reasonable approach. When all the doors are closed, what are the odds that you pick the car?
33.333333333.
Yeah, a third or 33%. So have the odds changed now that you know one of the doors?
50%.
Yeah. Okay, so should we keep it or switch?
Switch.
Everybody wants to switch?
Sure.
All right, we won another car, but this time we changed strategies. Let's play again. Okay, which door do you want?
Middle.
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 Okay, goat is in, there's a goat here.
Keep it.
You want to keep it?
Keep or change. Keep or change.
Change.
Keep.
Change.
Change.
I think keep.
Change.
Oh, you know what? I'll go with keep.
Keep have it. Oh, we finally lost.
No.
Which one do you want?
Left.
Left, everybody wants to go to door
Yeah.
number 1? Okay.
They always open up the goat. Do you want to change or
Yeah.
keep?
The goat always opens. You're always going to see a goat is what's revealed.
Keep.
You want to keep or change?
Keep.
Keep.
Okay. Oh, we didn't win the car. Okay, which door?
Right.
Okay, so we see a
Left
goat.
or right, Rowan? Left or right?
I actually think we should keep it now because because we've kept it twice and both
But it's still randomized.
Yeah, I know, but
I agree with the majority.
We
Yeah.
kept it, so we want another car. Okay, let's go ahead, because this website's really fun. We can just go let the computer play. You guys want to see if the computer always keeps its first choice or changes its choice?
keeps.
Okay, because you guys chose to keep most of the time. So before I start this, you think keeping your choice is going to win the most cars?
Speed.
Yeah, we can just go,
Normal.
okay, we'll go normal. So do you think having a strategy of always keeping is going to win you more cars, or do you think changing is going to win you more cars?
Keeping.
Okay, here we go. It's playing. We're winning a lot of cars. Oh no, we're winning a lot of goats. Oh, where is it going to go? After 100, where do you guys think it's going to go? Are you going to win more cars or more goats?
More cars.
Does it seem like it's sticking on
Wait,
the car side?
it's slowly going to goats. Yeah, I think. But
And where do you think where's your guess before it gets there? Where do you think the percent of goats to cars is going to be?
goats? Because once it gets more than 50, then goats wins.
Yeah, but
Goats
what do you
already
think the
has
final
53.
what do you think the final percent is going to be? Oh, it's almost there.
70.
Oh, there it
Goats
is.
are gonna win.
No, I mean 62.
Change the choice now. Change the choice now.
Now, how do you think this is going to turn out?
Better, I think, for the
I think it's going
cars.
to be better.
And what do you think it's going to be the same percentages, but for cars?
No. Maybe.
Oh, well, maybe.
Let's go. Whoa. So why did you guys default? Your original strategy was to keep your guesses.
But wait, why would you want like more than 50 cars?
Well, it's not whether you want the 50 cars. We're just trying to see what's the best strategy for
So
winning.
we can crash all of them.
Yeah, now you guys are. I like how you guys think. You immediately start thinking of other consequences.
Yes.
Oh, we have like 50 cars.
Yeah, isn't this pretty interesting though? Was this counterintuitive? That changing what changed about the odds when you open up?
I have a question. Could you make it keep the cow 50 times and change the cow 50 times?
You could absolutely play that strategy, and this is kind of what you see
So
played out.
keep change.
And what would that mean? You'd win 50% of the time. But I want to win more cars because I could sell more cars for those asking. I could just sell all the ones I don't want.
Change.
So I would want, if I were playing, I'd want to change because I'd win more cars. So you guys, again, will get this link and you can play this game and you can use this to quiz other friends or family members. And it's fun because what I think you'll find is adults are the one that most often can't believe that changing the door is a winning strategy.
Can you send us the link?
Yep, I'll make sure you get the link. So, what do you think based on
Wait,
everything?
what about the video? Can you send us the video link?
You'll get all the videos too and explain some of the math and stuff. And again, this is another problem that came up many, many decades ago. And there were fierce arguments because it appeared in a newspaper. And a bunch of scientists wrote into the newspaper and said that the answer the newspaper proposed was wrong. And the scientists were actually wrong. But they couldn't believe because their own brains were telling them that keeping the door was the best strategy. And they couldn't believe it until people started creating these computer simulations. Even some of the most famous mathematicians just didn't believe the way that it worked. So to kind of close this out, do you guys get a sense that our knowledge could ever be limited, or is our knowledge unlimited?
Um,
Is what we can learn,
what way?
do you ever reach a point at which you can no longer learn about something?
No.
But can you ever know everything?
No.
Yeah, kind of interesting. So with that, guys, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for participating actively. Are there any questions about anything? Me, the limits, the knowledge, the ideas here?
No?
Cool. Was this fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good use of your hour?
Yes.
That's cool. I would be happy to do anything in the future. I'm so glad you guys are learning every day.